Bills dominated the Jets in a 40-14 home win in Buffalo. It was just another day at the office for Josh Allen, right? He had 3 total touchdowns, strengthening his MVP case. His head coach, Sean McDermott, spoke about his quarterback after another big win.
Josh Allen's the MVP. I've been around this league long enough to see MVPs every year for many years. And what he has done on this team, in this organization, in this community, and no offense to anybody else, but I've got a hard time believing that someone's done more. I really believe that.
Yeah, we hear you. Marcus, the defense also had a big day in Buffalo. What stood out to you there?
Yeah, that's what the story of the game was for me. The pressure that they created. Obviously, you see the Russo Phillips interception and then a safety by Epineza as well. This defense made a lot of big plays. And when we start talking about playoff football, and as good as Josh and this offense has been, you're going to have to get some of these against the opponents that you're going to play. I was very, very impressed with the way they came out and took care of the New York Jets, which is not a good offense anyway, so that's how it's supposed to look. Good job, Buffalo Bills defense. You got to carry it over into the playoffs.
Let's go to Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. They blew out the Panthers yesterday thanks to a big day from their offense. Mayfield had 5 passing touchdowns, 2 going to Mike Evans and Jalen McMillan. Hard to argue against this high-powered Buccaneers offense, right? Sunday was their 3rd game with at least 500 total yards, more than any other team this season. Only the Lions and Ravens have done it twice this year, let alone 3 times. It's also second most in Bucs history, behind 5 games in 2018. Dan, how impressive was Baker Mayfield in this Bucs offense yesterday?
Unbelievably, and it's really because the growth and the development of their young players. When they put their 2 backs on the field with Bucky Irving and Rashad White, like, this is a very difficult personnel grouping to handle. Bucky Irving is an up-and-coming superstar in this league. I don't know if he's an Alvin Kamara type of player, but his impact is real. And then, talked about this weeks ago, McMillan replacing Chris Godwin has been absolutely huge. And I think the thing that I have undervalued is how good this offense is in their play-action game. I think there's just so much to have to defend with Tampa Bay's offense, both schematically and with people, that this is a very dangerous offense going into the playoffs if they win this weekend.
Something historic in the air for Saquon Barkley. It was the defense that got things started for Philly against the Cowboys, though. Cooper Rush, picked by Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who proceeds to make a house call. 69-yard pick six puts the Eagles up 7-0. More on him in just a little bit with everybody here. Kenny Pickett getting the start in this one. Jalen Hurts still in concussion protocol. He connects with Devontae Smith for the 22-yard score. What'd you see here, Dan?
This is a fantastic job by Kenny Pickett of just making sure that Devontae Smith got the football. Kenny Pickett toughed one out for this football team to try to make sure that they had the chance to win.
And simply put, this day belonged to Saquon Barkley. Really fun to see for this guy. He creates a little magic there, picking up the first down. Moments later, the run that broke 2,000 yards on the season. Look at him go. Barkley finished with 167 yards on the ground, only needs 101 more to break Eric Dickerson's all-time record. Here's more from Saquon after.
I'm not going to lie, just being a fan of the game and the running back position, to reach a milestone and put myself up there with 8 other backs that I respect, and some of them I grew up watching, definitely means a lot. But at the same time, I wouldn't be able to do that with this team. And like I said, you can't be great without the greatness of others, and I'm just happy I was able to be a part of the team and be able to reach a milestone like that.
He's also been so excited about what this Eagles team can accomplish in the playoffs, experiencing that for the first time. And Saquon, just one of 9 players with 2,000 rushing yards in a season. He did it in 16 games, like the rest of them, except OJ, of course, who did it in 14. Barkley needs less than 25 yards on Sunday against his former team to crack the top 5. He had 176 on the ground at the Giants in a Week 7 win. We'll see how much he ends up playing in that game, but more on that later. Marcus, what's impressed you most about Saquon's first season in Philadelphia?
I mean, it's so much to say. Obviously, you give the offensive line a lot of credit, but his vision and his ability to hit the home run. And we've all known that Saquon Barkley is an elite running back in this league, even with what he was doing in New York, which may be more impressive of how he was able to run with the New York Giants. But I think the home run ability changed this offense in a major way, especially when you get A.J. Brown back and the pressure that it puts on defenses as well. And to RC, the willingness to run between the tackles. Like, I don't want people to think that Saquon Barkley is a finesse running back. He will bring power. He will bring his hard hat to a game. And more importantly, and you know this, Dan knows this as well, when they evaluating quarterbacks coming out of college, one of the first questions they ask is, can he pick up the blitz? Can he deal with linebackers that he has to pick up in pressure situations? He does a phenomenal. He's a complete back, and he was phenomenal this year for Philly.
Yeah, I mean, the question, who should we give more credit to, Saquon or the offensive line? The answer is both. And Marcus just gave you the Saquon side of it. I'm going to talk about this offensive line because, oh my goodness, watching them yesterday. I mean, Saquon averaged 3.65 yards before contact per carry, and they knew he was getting the football. This Dallas pass rush, I want to emphasize, ever since Micah Parsons has come back, they've been excellent rushing the passer. They've been 5th in pressure rate, pass rush win. They've led the league in sack rate. They didn't put up any sacks against Kenny Pickett and Tanner McKee. They had 4 pressures. When they blitzed 7 times, they got 0 pressures. We're going to talk a lot about this offensive line heading into the playoffs, but man, watching them yesterday, blocking for 2 backup quarterbacks, I was just blown away by how dominant they were at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they look like some of those teams recently, but kind of old, that really were so strong at that position for the Eagles. On the defensive side, RC, who impressed you for this Philly team yesterday?
You know what? It was Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I mean, he's leading the league in trash talking and interceptions since the bye week. We've spoken so much about what Cooper DeJean has meant to this team since being inserted into the starting lineup since the bye, but also Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who has sort of been that enforcer on the back end early on in the season, the guy that would get in your face, the guy that would make the physical tackle, going sideline to sideline in the run game and pass game, but he's become that ball hawk that he was his first tenure in Philadelphia as well. And I think that's huge for getting extra possessions for this offense that, you know, when you put it in the hands of Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, and those wide receivers, can be extremely difficult to stop with more snaps.
Can make the case that Quinyon Mitchell is the most important part for the Eagles defense in reaching a Super Bowl. And RC, I wanted to ask you this because watching that game yesterday and rewatching the tape, I'm like, man, that ball keeps going left. And then you go back to the past couple weeks. They targeted him 9 times yesterday. And over the last 3 weeks, he's got picked on a little bit. RC, just from your perspective, do you think teams are targeting him more, going away from Slay? Does it give you a little bit of concern? Because as an offensive person, I'd be throwing left as much as possible right now.
So here's what happens, right? We go to watch the film, and you see a guy that's not being targeted, and a quarterback or a wide receiver or a quarterback or wide receivers coach says, oh, wait, they had that play on 27 right there. Or 27 got ran by on this play. He gave up leverage here. And so instead of going away from him, you start to attack those things. And then you see what you saw with the Washington Commanders and Terry McLaurin beating him on that deep ball, and you say, well, why won't we try it? Now
Mingo
gets behind him. Exactly. And then so now you're saying, okay, let's give Jalen Tolbert an opportunity on the fade ball. And I'm going to say this about every wide receiver. If you throw it at them enough, they going to get some buckets. Think about Riley Moss against the Cincinnati Bengals, who's had a great year. In his first game back, they said, we'd rather throw at you than Patrick Surtain, and eventually they'll get money.
Yeah. All right, we'll keep an eye on exactly how that Eagles defense continues to fare. Adam, what is the latest on the health of Kenny Pickett and Jalen Hurts? What more can you tell us?
Well, Jalen Hurts is still in concussion protocol. Kenny Pickett has got broken ribs, as Rex Ryan reported on Sunday Morning Countdown yesterday. And with the health questions surrounding both Eagles quarterbacks, I would not expect either one to play on Sunday against the New York Giants. I think it'll be Tanner McKee again, maybe even Ian Book, but I don't think we'll go to either one of these 2 quarterbacks who have health questions in this upcoming game. It looks like the Eagles will be down to the 3rd and 4th string quarterbacks. As for the Dallas Cowboys and their head coach, he is now entering the final game of his Cowboys contract as the head coach. His contract is up after the Dallas Cowboys regular season finale against Washington. The Cowboys have said that there's a time and a place to talk about his future after the game, but they want to get through the game against the Commanders first. And staying in that division, the New York Giants lost the opportunity to pick number one. There's a new leader atop the race for the number one overall pick. It is now the New England Patriots, who, if they lose on Sunday, will clinch the number one overall pick. But they play Buffalo. Buffalo has the number 2 slot locked up. Buffalo has no motivation to win. The Patriots will be trying to win, and if they do win, they will lose out on the number one overall pick. It's not how players and coaches think, but of course it's how fans think. And I think that New England's number one pick is in jeopardy because of the matchup that they have on Sunday.